Hey guys, it's Adam from Lucy Pixel, and welcome to 2019. My first official video of 2019 and my first official painting of 2019, and I really enjoyed working on this. I'm going to split it into two parts just because I want you to be able to enjoy watching the painting process. I don't want to rush through it too fast with a time-lapsed video that's too time-lapsed. So you'll be able to watch the final version of this next week, the second half of the production of this character. So enjoy. Now, before I get started with the meat and potatoes of today's talk, I first want to thank you. And it's a very sincere, very authentic thank you, because honestly, if it wasn't for you and your unconditional support, amazing feedback, your constructive and friendly criticism, the incredible, almost complete absence of trolls on my channel, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't invest my time and energy every single week to be able to produce these videos, to come up with new stuff, to experiment with new things, to improve the audio and video quality, to play around with the format, to really customize it to the kind of stuff that you really enjoy watching the most, because of just how amazing you are to me. And I really do feel taken care of by you guys. I really feel like you've got my back with whatever it is that I try out. So to that, I thank you very sincerely. Now, over the holidays, I've been pretty busy, and I got a lot of really amazing comments from you guys, and I want you to know that I've read every one of them. I couldn't reply to everyone just because I didn't have the time, but I did hear you, and I did read your comments, and I did get your feedback, and a huge thank you for going out of your way for that. All right. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that before moving forward. Now, I can actually pretty gracefully transition into the main subject that I want to talk about today, because it has a lot to do with social media. And in fact, I'd say social media plays the biggest role in what it is I want to address today. And the reason for this is I get many messages from students and from YouTube comments and emails I get from random artists online and stuff like that who reach out to me at a point of almost desperation very often. Frustration, desperation, wondering if the ends justify the means, lacking confidence or feeling completely down in the dumps, being overwhelmed by the competition, that kind of idea. A lot of that comes from sometimes, you're just newer to the game and you don't quite have the experience, and you kind of see the long road ahead of you, and that can feel a bit discouraging. But other people, even very seasoned, very professional artists, will reach out to me with these same concerns because what they're witnessing feels like a lack of popularity, a lack of support from the community out there with their artwork. And that can really knock the wind out of your sails. But what I want to do is I want to get to the core, to the roots of social media and the role that it plays with artists, yourself included, very much. Okay, this has to do with you specifically. And the reason I want to bring this up is because there is a facet of artistic production when it comes to visualization, when it comes to the control of your hand, to mastery, when it comes to execution, when it comes to planning and thoughtfulness, when it comes to everything, when it comes to the core of what it is that brings out the best of who you are artistically, that can be severely damaged by social media. Okay? And it's not what you might think. In other venues of art that generally tend to be more physical, that have to do more with your physical body, certain lessons, certain realizations are made very early on in the game. In fact, very often before dancers or musicians, for instance, even begin professional training. And that is their own unique taste, their own unique sense of rhythm with their physical body, and the rhythm of music and melody, and how that impacts how well they perform. A professional dancer, or a dancer in general, I'm not a professional by any stretch, but I know from countless experiences that I have a very, very unique, specific taste in music. When it comes to salsa, when it comes to acoustic, when it comes to swing, jazz, when it comes to rock, when it comes to whatever. I have a very, very specific taste, and it's very personal to me. And that has everything to do with the melody, with the texture of the voice, with the speed of the music. It has to do with the message that's being said, the intention and the emotion behind the singer. All of these things play a very specific role in how I personally react and how my body reacts to the music. And if I'm at a salsa club, for instance, if I'm dancing, if a song comes on that I'm meh, that I feel okay about, it's just another song, then my movements, my expressiveness, my emotion becomes very superficial. It becomes polite. Somebody asks me for a dance, I accept the dance, we dance together. At the end, we thank each other, we smile, and we go back and we sit down again. But when the right song comes on, when a song comes on that really connects with me, it's an entirely different experience. I feel like the music itself brings out a quality in my thought, in my mood, in my heart, in my energy level, in my artistic expression that transcends my physical being. It's an incredible experience. And I can turn that feeling on and off like a switch when it comes to dance, because I know exactly what songs get me going, which ones don't. I have certain dances that I can close my eyes and remember like it was yesterday, because I remember that feeling. It left with me. I remember the way my body moved. It just felt so good. And when I hear a good song, I can barely resist getting up off my feet and dancing. That's the impact that connecting with that specific rhythm, connecting with that specific melody does to me as a dancer. Well, this is an aspect of how you produce art that is as present in painting and drawing as it is in dancing and playing instruments. It is equally important. It has an equal amount of impact on your productivity. The speed at which you paint, it has much less to do with the speed of your hand. It has a lot more to do with the tempo of your mind. It has a lot more to do with where your brain is, which wavelength you're working on, the type of music you listen to, the speed at which you produce. The thoughtfulness that goes into every single brushstroke is immediately impacted by your own personal tempo. And you need to find that tempo. I, for instance, don't like songs that are too slow, but I don't like songs that are too fast either. I don't like being rushed. I like to be able to breathe through every movement all the way into my fingertips. I also don't paint well too quickly either. I don't like to be rushed through my thought process and my creation process and my ideation process and my thumbnailing and my colors and my textures and my rendering, because it forces me to bypass my creative mind. It forces me to rush through a phase where I need to be doing some deep, thoughtful visualization before I can execute what it is that I want to draw. Before I can find myself in a zone where I can express myself as deeply as I can and bring out the best quality in my thoughts. And furthermore, when my hand is moving too quickly, if I'm trying to rush a drawing physically with my hands, then I end up being sloppy, or I end up losing connection, losing that mind to hand connection so much that I almost forget how to draw. And it's something that I didn't realize for years. I just knew that some days I just was in the groove and I just felt like I was there. I felt like I was in the zone, and I felt like I just felt like everything was coming out right. And other days where I was completely discouraged and completely frustrated, and I would draw 5 or 6 versions of something and I couldn't for the life of me get it to work. Well, it had to do with my tempo. It had to do with the fact that I was in a position, I was being influenced by other artists, by advice, by art tips, by tutorials, by different factors that were telling me, that were encouraging me, or that made me think, made me believe, or made me tell myself that I needed to speed things up. And that immediately impacted the quality of my work in a negative way, in a very negative way. It basically put me into a headspace where pretty much anything I tried to produce ended up in the trash. And it did end up in the trash. And if I looked at it today, it would still go in the trash. It was garbage work. So what's doing that? What does this? What impacts your rhythm? Well, there's several factors. And I'd say right at the top of this pile is social media. And it's doing so in a way that you really need to be aware of, because when you do, you're going to start getting a little bit pissed off about it, and you should get pissed off about it. Remember that you are an artist. There's more to being an artist than just the choice of product that you provide to your client, director, whatever. As an artist, you have a very unique brainwave. You have a very unique tempo, and that tempo is unique to you. How you think, how you produce, the speed at which you produce, and the speed at which you are thinking and concentrating impacts your productivity. It makes you a genius, or it can make you a complete moron, just depending on how you play with that dial, that speed of yours. Well, when it comes to social media has its own unique algorithm. It has its own unique demand of you if you want to get the results that you want to get. But you have to understand where social media and why social media is trying to influence the quality and the quantity of your content. Because it's got a goal. And of course, like any other company, like any other organization, it's trying to make money from you. You might consider social media a free platform where you can go and promote your stuff. Social media platforms don't see it that way. They see it as an opportunity to encourage users to post a lot. The more they post, the more traffic they get. The more traffic they get, the more advertising revenue they can get. So it's in their best interest to get you to upload, to post, to update your supposed friends as frequently as possible. To somebody who's posting pictures, taking selfies of themselves, or posting pictures of their kitten chasing a ball of yarn, well, it takes 2 seconds to snap a picture. Big deal. And that's essentially what social media is designed for. And you can see that in the responses that you get. I can spend 6 months working on a painting. Not that I do. I seldom spend that long on a painting. But I can spend many hours, days working on a painting very easily. And I put my heart and soul into it. I'm not just posting some random selfie or some random snapshot of a cat that I took with my phone. I'm posting something that I put all of my technical skill behind. I posted something that I went to school to be able to produce. I'm posting something that I put a lot of energy and focus and concentration, and there's a lot of my self-esteem is wrapped into this image. And I post it online, and it gets 5 likes and 4 of them are members of my family, and the 5th is probably from some fake account. And I sit there and I look at that and I go, wow, that doesn't feel very good. But then half an hour later, my cat's walking by and I snap a picture of him and I post it online, and 15 minutes later, it's got 6,000 likes on it. I'm like, I get very irritated by that, as I should. It just goes to show what people are looking for. People want to see pictures of kittens. People want to see pictures of their kids' birthday cake. They're not there to see art. Oh, but then there's other artists that they post something in 16 minutes. 16 minutes later, they've got 16,000 likes on it, and you feel like shit, right? And these artists are also posting things every single day. And every single time they post something, they get another 16,000 likes on their stuff. And you feel like shit. If you want popularity, if you want to gain notoriety on social media, number 1, you've got to be the best of the best. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, you've got to post at least once a day. At least once a day. Okay? So if you want a regular feed where people are getting your feeds, or where people are actually receiving your notifications and people are engaged in your notifications, you need to be posting at least once a day. Which means that in order for your artwork to gain notoriety, in order for your artwork to gain popularity, you need to produce artwork at the tempo that Instagram is telling you to post your artwork. You basically got an algorithm, a social media algorithm dictating to you how frequently you should be posting your work, how quickly you should be producing it. And what that's doing is, it is severely, severely damaging your tempo. In fact, it's basically telling you this is the tempo you're going to be working at. And it's amazing how many artists I see that try to keep up with this bullshit, and they get discouraged because they can't keep up with it. Well, you're an artist. You're providing to your audience something of quality. Quality takes time. Quality takes concentration. Quality requires trial and error. So if you are going to keep up with that rat race, then you have a choice. You can either wait, take your time, take 2-3 weeks, produce a painting, refine it, go over it a few times, polish it up and post it. It's not going to get a lot of attention because you took too long to post it. It's been 3 weeks since your last post. People aren't even paying attention to your feed. Chances are they're not even getting it. Or you can produce complete garbage that you didn't put a lot of thought into, but it's there and it's ready and it's available. So you end up delivering these fast food sketches to your audience. Some people thrive in this environment because they're extremely good at doing minimalist paintings. They can produce work quickly because they have an art method, they have a painting method that allows them to really trim the fat off of what they do and allows them to be a lot more productive and produce paintings more frequently. Awesome. But that's a very small handful of artists. I'd say that's a good 5% of the big picture. The other 95% of us are far slower, far more crafty in our work. We take our time. Some have less experience, some have more, but that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is we're slower. We take our time. We experiment. We try different things out. We put more time into texture. We put more time into detail than other artists. And there's a lot of us out there, and they're genius artists out there. It takes time, and those people suffer for it. Those people pay the price for it. And I'm going to give you another little insight into the whole social media rat race, and that's the fact that no matter how good you get, no matter how many likes you get, social media will always keep that carrot just outside of reach. Always outside of reach. That's the essence on keeping people engaged. The moment you hand people the carrot, they grab it, they eat it, and they walk away, and you never see them again. So social media has a way of always keeping you keeping you chasing after that carrot. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, around mid last year, I decided to experiment for the first time, because I generally don't buy into this bullshit, but I wanted to see what kind of a difference it made, and I decided to try out a few Google ads on my YouTube videos. If you upload a YouTube video, you have an option to promote it, and you click on it. It takes you to Google Ads, and you can pay for a certain amount of traffic, a certain amount of exposure on your video. Now that in and of itself is a real piss off, because I produce videos. I put my time and my energy into producing these videos, and it gets on my nerves. It really pisses me off to know that these platforms are deliberately limiting and cutting off the exposure of my videos in order to get me to pay them money to keep it going. I find that's really dirty practice. Sure, business is business, but I don't dig it. I don't like it whatsoever. And I know, because when I used to post videos years ago, it would maintain consistent traffic for years. And then all of a sudden I would notice that my videos they had a lasting power of about 24 hours. And then after that, if you look at the traffic, it just died after 24 hours. It was like up and dead. And if you want to keep that curve up, you have to start paying your tithe to the YouTube gods. Right? And I decided, okay, let's give it a shot. So I clicked on promote it, and immediately it gives you options on who you want to market this video to. So it asks you which age group, and you can look at your analytics at the same time. So I looked at my analytics, and I could see YouTube is telling me that the majority of the people listening to my videos are between 18 and 25 years old. That's my biggest demographic, and quite a few in the 25 to 35 range as well. After 35, it starts to drop off significantly. And then you could see that most of my people watching my videos were from Europe, and they were from the US, mostly Europe and US, and a little bit less from Canada, ironically, because I'm Canadian, right? And then they would say, how much do you want to pay? So I wanted to start small, so I put in $5 a day to see how it responded. And as soon as you put that $5 in and you look up in the top right corner, it says, okay, this is going to give you exposure to around 1,000 to 1,500 extra people. And if you increase that to $10, that number triples. And if you increase it to $20, that number quintuples. Okay, so you can see it's incremental. The more you put in, the larger the gain. It's like it's you know, the typical discount type of mentality. But I decided, no, screw you. I'm going to put it in for $5. So I put it in for $5, and I saw a little bit more traffic on that video. And then I went back on the video to check it out, and I could see it said there was some kind of like some warning type of thing. It's not a warning, but it's some kind of way like saying or like something to pay attention to, something to grab my attention. And I click on it and it says limited by budget. So basically what it's trying to tell me is that I'm not really benefiting from putting my money in, because I should be putting in, if I put in more, then I'm going to see the benefit. They recommended $10. Okay, fuck it. I'll play your game. So I put in $10. And I waited about 5-6 hours for the video to be approved. And then I get another warning. And I click on it and it says limited by budget. Recommended $20. See where this is going, right? First it was 5, then it was 10, now it's 20. Okay, let's play your game. It's fine. $20. I'm trying it out, see if it makes a big difference. And I put in $20. Wait a couple of hours. Limited by budget. Recommended $50. I see where this is going. Well, I wasn't going to go as high as $50. I think that's it was already robbery at $20 a day, at least for, you know, some guy who produces YouTube videos. I'm not a corporation or anything like that. And you son of a bitch. You're basically saying that, no, that's not enough to make any difference. You're going to have to double it. Originally, it was recommending 10. Now it's recommending 50. See where this is going? It's throwing me into a state of a gambling headspace. And the same applies to you. Whether or not you're investing your money, you post your shit on Instagram and somebody else gets 6,000 likes, and you post your stuff and you get 20 likes, you feel discouraged. So you thought, I want to get a little bit more attention on my artwork. And Instagram offers you the option of paying to get more attention. It's to their advantage for you to pay. It's to their advantage for you to post more frequently. It's to their advantage, not to yours. It's not making you a better artist. It's in fact damaging to your productivity. It's damaging to your growth, because it's teaching you to try to produce on a rhythm that is not yours. It's forcing you to dance to a song that you don't connect with. And that is incredibly damaging to you as an artist. Not only is it damaging to you, but it's slowing you down. One of the things you learn as an artist, and it's funny, ironically, you learn the same thing in dance as well. The speed of movement, the speed of your execution has nothing to do with how quickly you are moving. It has to do with how thoughtful you're moving. I've heard this from my peer, Antonio, from Tyler Edlin, Bobby Chu, Noah Bradley. I've heard it from all the masters. The speed of your execution has nothing to do with how fast your limbs are moving, how fast your hands are moving. It has to do with how much thoughtfulness, how much precision you put into your work. By slowing yourself down and finding your groove, every brushstroke you make becomes very masterful. It becomes very thoughtful. It becomes very controlled, because your hands are their most effective. Your hands and your thoughts are the most lucid and focused at a very specific frequency, at a very specific speed and rhythm. You have to find that speed, and you have to ride that speed. You have to learn how to recognize that speed and repeat it. Anything that tells you that you need to produce on a daily basis, that you need to be pumping out a unit at least once a day or twice a day, is damaging Same thing applies to YouTube. Posting one video a week. I do my videos every Monday because it works within my schedule, and that's fine. And I started doing the art critiques, but doing 2 videos a week pretty much eats up every bit of free time I have. And that comes at the detriment of my productivity as an artist, because I need my time I can't just teach. I have to produce, right? I'm not just a guy who teaches. I'm a guy who has to keep up my own skills. And by producing videos twice a week, that comes at the cost of my productivity as an artist. And it came to a point where I couldn't produce any artwork because I was too busy recording videos. And then I was recording videos and editing videos all weekend, and I didn't have any weekends. I can't live like that. Right? Well, that's what social media does, because YouTube wants you to post videos. And if you want people to look at the videos, you got to pay for them. Well, I didn't continue to pay. I said, screw you. And I just kept on producing videos at my own pace at that point. And once a week was reasonable for me. Don't let social media tell you how to work. Furthermore, if you're listening to artists like me or artists like Feng Zhu, or you're watching Tyler Edlin, or you're watching Noah Bradley, notice how every one of them has a different pace. Every one of them has a different tempo. You look at, when I look at Bobby Chiu paint, he looks like he's working in slow motion at the beginning. But every brushstroke he paints is just completely thought out. He's very big on visualization. He's very big on thinking, having deep thought before he even picks up his paintbrush. And at the beginning it looks like random brushstrokes, but then it all seems to magically culminate into some masterpiece. You look at Noah Bradley, same thing. You look at him and he just looks at these random brushstrokes. You look at Tyler, he just lays in these basic fundamental forms, but after 15 minutes of watching him, you go, wow, that's what he was painting? How the hell did he pull that off? Well, because of how much thought he put into it. He understands his tempo. Tyler's tempo is definitely quicker than mine. He's a lot more of a, quote, efficient artist than myself. I'm slower. But when I'm in my zone, like I was with this painting, I'm quite efficient. Because everything that I paint has been carefully thought and planned beforehand. Furthermore, I've also cultivated and I've also controlled my working environment, which is something I'm going to be talking about moving forward, maybe even next week. But I am very conscious of the external factors around me that are also influencing the tempo of my work, like what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, what my environment's like, how many distractions I have around me, etc. I also know how to control that because I understand what kind of an environment I need around me to pull me into that meditative, very lucid thinking, very focused, very visualized mindset to be able to produce. Something else I'm definitely going to be able to help you with, so stay tuned for that. You've got to find this for yourself as well. You've got to know how to eliminate distractions, create an environment that allows you to stay focused over a long period of time. And by God, don't produce artwork for the sake of popularity on social media. There is zero benefit to you in the end. I like to use my lying in my deathbed, lying in my casket analogy. Lying there, I'm dead. There's, everybody's at the funeral home and there I am. What will people say about me? Think about what people will say about you. I've been to several funerals in my time, and I always pay attention to what people have to say about the deceased, about the people who have passed. And it's amazing how the simplest things matter after a person dies. Do you think anybody in a million years is going to give a shit that you got how many likes you got on Instagram for posting a picture? Do you think anybody's ever going to care for 1 second how many views your YouTube video got, or how many subs you had, or how many likes you got on Facebook? Nobody's going to give a crap. Nobody's going to care. What people will care about, your legacy that you're leaving behind, is the message, is the emotional, thoughtful, beautiful message that you left behind. In the visual form, in a form that the world everybody in the world will be able to identify with, because you're speaking a universal language, a visual language that everybody can identify with. And the more you move forward in your career, the more you want to focus on, and something I focus on with my students a lot, I teach this, something I focus on a lot is how to express yourself through art, how to understand the language, the visual language of art. So you're not just painting pretty pictures, but you're You're relaying a message from your heart to theirs, from your minds, from your intentions to theirs, so that they can understand what it is that you're thinking and feeling. And you can pull them into your world. That requires you to know it. And in order to know your world, you need to know your rhythm. If you don't know your rhythm, and if you're trying to live off the rhythm of others, you're never going to find yourself, and you're never going to find your truest potential. And like I said, when you find that right song, the music will do the dancing for you. Okay? So, hopefully you enjoyed this first video of the year. Again, a huge thank you for just being the most wonderful community any YouTuber could ever wish for. All of this is dedicated to you. And moving forward, I want you to start paying attention and listening to yourself, getting to know yourself, getting to identify with the world around you, with your environment around you that you create for yourself, with this zone, this bubble that you create around yourself to be productive and to get caught up in your thoughts and feelings and be able to convey them in a good way. And for God's sakes, don't worry for 2 seconds. I pretty much stopped posting on Instagram because I didn't feel like keeping up with that rat race. I just want to produce art because I love it, because it means something to me, and hopefully you'll get to enjoy it too someday. All right? So I love you all. Happy painting, and I'll see you next week.